today. Also, the ACC today has released what they're going to do, but not immediately. It's going to be in 2023. Now, the Big 12, because there's 10 teams, they've always played everybody. But now you're starting to see, and we've seen that this is going to happen, all the bigger conferences as far as numbers of teams are going to go to perhaps no divisions. And the ACC will start with this next year. Everybody has 3 primary opponents. You can see the 3 to the right of the logo on the mid-size right side of the page. The other 10, they will play twice during a 4-year cycle. Not one of these where you don't play somebody for 8 to 10 or 12 years, or just maybe hardly ever. So they've come up with this, and this is what the ACC will do. 3 common opponents that will consistently be a part of your schedule. They tried to keep all the rivalries. And then the other 10 teams that are not a part of your core 3, you will play them at least twice every 4 years.
Yeah, the thing, of course, that jumps out to me as an FSU alum is FSU got the 2 hardest every year, but that's what you want. I mean, especially going forward to the 12-team playoff, and that's 2 rivals anyway. So I'm glad that they didn't talk themselves out of the FSU Miami and the FSU Clemson game every year. But it does show you that one in particular, like the SEC to me can have some really interesting, like, and we've talked about it, like, how do you fit, if you did that scheduling model in the SEC, how do you fit that in? How do you make it work for everybody? You know, there's so many good things that you could do with it. But Garrett, if you put that back, can you put that back up again? But you look at the ACC, and you kind of look at what the ACC's problem is. Outside of a couple of schools here that are pretty intriguing, or all the time, they've got to make these 3 work, you know, each team for them. You know, I have a top 5 about this later in the show, but, you know, outside of a couple, does any of these, like, go, oh, man, that's a great thing?
Does this also...
I mean, I think so, yeah.
Does it say that right now that's what the ACC is? Because there's not really a lot of dicey matchups?
Dicey as far as
like elite matchups within the conference.
I mean, based on what they are currently or brand wise,
probably both.
Well, not really, because brand wise, you got Clemson, Florida State, Louisville, Miami, like Virginia Tech. I mean, I think they got more than enough brands. And then you go to basketball, and it's even more. Add Duke into the mix.
North Carolina,
yeah. I mean, who in football you can, you know, was certainly getting a lot of love last year, even though it didn't pan out the way they wanted to. So. I mean, that's a problem that I don't really think has to do with the schools themselves. That's a marketing problem. That's all your brands that are established, like somebody needs to emerge from that and get onto a steady track or something, because you give me Miami, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, you know, Clemson, Florida State. I mean, I'll make a conference out of that, and I'll make it work, and I can market the hell out of that. So I don't really think that's the problem there. I think it's just that your blue bloods have dragged you down. But that's more than, I mean, others would love. The Big 12 would love to have that many established teams right now, and they certainly don't. Even with Texas and Oklahoma.
Paul, you're an ACC guy, and we have Chris Hummer coming up at 3:25.
And that's not even counting the year Pitt had last year.
Yeah, with the quarterback, et cetera. So you're an ACC guy. What do you think? Is it blah or what?
Well, I mean, I think the conference right now is very blah. You know, and again, the ACC could be made a lot better if Notre Dame just came in as a full member, and that would up that ante a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, look, it's true though. Like I do think though that the big rivalries in the ACC are kind of lost on the national audience, because again, they've been so blah for a while. But like Craig said, they've got brand name teams. They just need to be better, because really the whole history of the last, 25 years of the ACC or more is 2 teams doing anything reputable, and that's
Clemson Florida State.
Yeah,
and they didn't have Clemson over the last 5, 6, 7 years. It'd be just totally irrelevant.
Because
really.
as huge of a brand as Miami is, and all the great things that they did a long time ago, they've never won the ACC title. They've never really won anything in the ACC. I don't think they've beaten Clemson but once, and that was kind of a fluke. So, there are lots of things that the ACC has not done great. Like North Carolina's not consistent. You know, every now and again you'll see NC State looks like they've got something going because they've got a good quarterback or something, and then that guy leaves, or they run him out to Wisconsin and Russell Wilson, and then they're not good for a decade. So they need more consistency, not just in the top, but in the middle.
They need Miami to be Miami. When there's a lot of conferences. Hell, the Big 12 could have said that about a few people, and they need Florida State to get back to more of the upper echelon because they've been down. Louisville's had the run. They had Lamar Jackson. They've had some runs, but they always seem to kind of be erratic with it. But they've had more success than perhaps you think. They're more known for being a basketball school. And even then, they've had some drama there. North Carolina looked like they were on the uptick after 2 years ago. And then last year, they blew a tire in the now Mac Brown trying to get them back. And maybe the expectations were just too much to handle or way overblown because of what they did the year before and had the quarterback coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I get some of what Paul's saying because just looking at the schedule laid out the way that it is, it doesn't like really just get you excited. And I don't know, it might just be the format of it. Over you're just looking at just the 3 teams that you know are going to be permanent, and the rest of it's going to be the sugar and spice that's going to make it, you know, all nice. But yeah, I mean, just kind of staring at this graphic, I don't get like woo baby, Florida State, and let's see here, who do they got? Where is even the logo here? Where's the Florida State logo? Okay, there it is. Clemson and Miami, and then Syracuse. I mean, like, that's cool. Like, Clemson and Syracuse, or Clemson and Miami, I mean, that's great, the permanent opponents. I mean, everybody's got a couple that are going to be great. But, yeah, I mean, I understand there's not a lot of sizzle there right now, but it's not for lack of brands. Like, if anybody wants to complain about a lack of brands, that's the Big 12. Everybody else needs to shut up. And if they're not getting the same kind of oomph out of their 5 or 6 blue bloods they have, and that's the Pac-12. Pac-12's got Oregon and USC, and Big 12 would kill for any of those teams. So, yeah, I mean, they just need their blue bloods, I suppose, to be a bit more consistent. And certainly Miami is one of those that's doing everything in their power to ensure that.
The Big 12 has